Okay, so what if I told you that a piece of technology, one that's already on pretty much all of your customers' phones, could solve one of your biggest, most expensive problems? Today, we're diving into how augmented reality is becoming this secret weapon for brands right here in Bangladesh and how it's tackling lost sales head-on.
So let's start with the story, a scenario that's probably painfully familiar if you're in retail, especially if you sell big-ticket items. We're calling it the $65,000 sofa problem.
Just picture it. A customer walks into your store or browses your site and they find the perfect sofa. They fall in love with it, they buy it, a few weeks go by, it gets delivered to their home, and it's a total disaster. You know the feeling. It's way too big for the room, or that beautiful color clashes horribly with their carpet. And just like that, that gorgeous sofa is on a truck coming right back to you.
And here's where it really hurts. The true cost of that one return. It isn't just the lost $50,000 in revenue. Nope. You're also on the hook for another $15,000 in logistics to go pick it up and then restock it. Now just imagine this happening every single day, all across Dhaka. We're talking millions in losses for businesses.
So, what's the fix? What if that same customer could have seen a life-sized, perfect 3D model of that exact sofa sitting right in their own living room, all through their phone, before they ever clicked buy? And that brings us to our next section. Look, this isn't some sci-fi fantasy we're talking about. This is about bridging a very real, very expensive gap in customer confidence. And, as you're about to see, the market in Bangladesh is absolutely primed for this. The technology is called augmented reality, or AR, and is actually pretty simple. You point your phone's camera at a space in your room, and the software drops in an accurate 2-scale 3D model of a product right there. You can literally walk around it, see it from every angle, and know exactly how it's going to fit and look.
What this tech really does is solve a huge psychological barrier for shoppers. Let's call it the imagination tax. You know, that mental gymnastics your customers have to do, trying to guess what a flat 2D photo on a website will actually look like in their 3D world. Well, AR gets rid of that tax completely.
But you're probably wondering, hold on, do people in Bangladesh even have phones that can do this? And the answer is a huge, resounding yes. A whopping 95% of mobile users here are on Android, and the vast majority of those phones are already AR capable. The hardware isn't a future thing, it's literally in your customers' pockets right now.
And this technology is showing up at the absolute perfect time. The e-commerce market in Bangladesh is massive, and it's growing incredibly fast. We're talking from $9 billion in 2024 to a projected $13 billion by 2027. This is the digital battlefield where AR is set to make a game-changing impact.
Okay, so we've got the problem, we've got the tech, but let's get to the real question. Does it actually work? Let's put the hype aside and look at the cold, hard numbers, the data-backed impact of AR. First up, the big one for your top line. Brands that use interactive AR experiences are seeing their sales conversion rates jump by up to 40%. It makes sense, right? When customers can truly visualize a product in their space, that hesitation to buy it melts away. And here's the other side of that amazing coin. Remember our expensive sofa problem? AR slashes product returns by up to 40%. Why? Because better information before the purchase leads to way less regret after the purchase. Simple as that. This chart here gives us the whole picture, and it's pretty fascinating. It's not just about sales and returns. Take a look at browsing time. It more than doubles from 3 minutes to 8 minutes. That is a huge boost in engagement. Cart additions also shoot up. The key takeaway is that AR's impact is felt across the entire customer journey, which leads to a much happier and much more confident customer. And hey, this isn't just theory. Global giants have already proven this model works. IKEA used AR to cut their furniture returns by 30%. Sephora's virtual makeup try-on tool boosted their sales by 31%, with people who use the AR feature converting at a 90% higher rate. This technology is tested, it's proven, and it is delivering a real return on investment. All right, so by now you're probably sold on the why, so let's get practical and talk about the how. The good news is this isn't some impossibly complex project. We can break it down into a clear 7-step roadmap to get you started. So first, you audit your product catalog. Figure out which items will benefit the most. Think about your high-return items. Then you get the 3D models made. Next, you choose a platform. Something like WebAR is fantastic because it works right in a phone's browser, no app download needed. After that, you integrate, test with real users, launch it with a big educational push, and finally, you measure and optimize. See? It's a clear, manageable process.
I know the next question on your mind is, okay, so what does this cost? Well, for a pilot program, say for about 15 to 20 of your most important products, you should probably budget somewhere in the range of 3 to 8 lakh taka. Now, it's a significant investment, for sure, but it's one aimed directly at plugging a much, much larger financial leak.
And what about time? You're not looking at a multi-year project here. From the moment you decide to go for it, you can have a pilot program live and giving you data within about 8 to 12 weeks. Yeah, that's just a couple of months to start seeing real results. Okay, now before we get too carried away, we have to have a little reality check. AR is an incredibly powerful tool, but it's not a magic wand. There are real-world challenges to think about, especially here in Bangladesh. So what's the catch, right? We've all seen the hype around new tech, and it usually glosses over the tough parts. Let's be totally transparent about the hurdles you might face. First, you've got potential technical barriers. Slower 4G connections or some budget Android phones might struggle with really complex 3D models. Then there's the cost, which we talked about, and that can be a big hurdle for smaller businesses. You also have to educate your customers to get over any skepticism. And finally, this is not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of tool. It needs ongoing maintenance to stay effective.
So really, this is all about managing expectations. The hype might promise a flawless, magical experience for everyone. The reality, it needs careful optimization for local internet speeds. It definitely works best for certain products like furniture and fashion, and it's a journey of continuous improvement, not some instant overnight fix. Which brings us to our final and most important question. We've seen the problem, the solution, the data, and the challenges. So now it's time to decide. Is augmented reality actually the right move for your business? Ultimately, it all comes down to this one question. Don't chase AR just because it's the new trendy thing. Chase it because your customers need more confidence to hit that buy button. Chase it because, just like that $65,000 sofa, your product return rate is eating a giant hole in your profit margins. If that sounds familiar, then for you, AR isn't a gimmick. It's a necessary, strategic business decision.